good ones bad, yeah, they're really always like this. We don't know who's who, but at least we know who Mike is. They love to complain, they got sports on the brain, and they frequently drive each other insane. It's the good and the bad and the Mike. The good and the bad and the Mike. The good and the bad and the Mike. It's the good and the bad and the Mike.
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of The Good, the Bad and the Mike. As always, I'm Oisin. That's Cian.
Hello.
And that's Mike.
Hello.
Right. Let's just jump straight into... Does anyone have any news? Mike, let's go to you first.
Me first. Alright, so let's start off with a funny one.
Go on.
So, during the international break, the Jordan FA have made an accusation to the Asian Football Confederation about an investigation that they've accused Iranian goalkeeper Zohira Kudai of being a man.
Yeah.
Sorry, what?
They accused their goalkeeper of being a man.
Fair.
Yeah.
And have asked for a confirmation of sex.
I mean... Alright then. Seems a bit extreme. I assume that's because they were salty over a loss?
Yes, they lost in a penalty shootout and she saved 2, I believe.
Oh, yeah, women can't save penalties, so that makes sense then that she'd be a man.
Oof. Alright then. Let's distance ourselves from those comments.
Yeah,
Once again, Cian does not speak for the rest of us.
Nope, we do not endorse that.
Ooh, yeah, that would come. Yeah, that was bad.
And that concludes the good, the bad, and the Mike. We've had a good run.
Had a good run.
Just a bad in the mic from now on when I leave.
All right,
I like the way you.
I think after those kind of comments, you're clearly the bad.
Yeah, that's very fair.
To be fair, that was a pretty Mike take out of you as well. Like I
It
could you
was.
being the Mike.
Do not bring my name in and associate it that.
All right, it's worth pointing out that I very quickly looked up this story while we were. Well,
See, I just got your time.
While he was backtracking
You're
his horrific comments, and the Iranian goalie, who they're accusing of being a man, is planning to sue the Jordan FA for suggesting that she's a man, according to the Times of Israel.
Oof. Because I have actually, this is actually a very interesting topic, is where to draw the lines between men and women in sports. I've seen their stuff on, particularly athletics, on what counts as a man and what counts as a woman, and it's actually very interesting. Things have changed.
Well, yeah, I think the Olympics were saying that they were going to stop doing the estrogen tests, didn't they?
It's testosterone they normally check for. I know that they keep changing the barrier, but then that doesn't really make much sense because women produce testosterone and some women just produce naturally high testosterone, and they shouldn't be what's the term? They shouldn't be restricted because of a natural thing that they breed from. Kind of like Michael Phelps had the biggest feet and had webbing in his feet.
Yeah.
Which technically really makes him a fish, but still, he's celebrated. Versus Caster Semenya, who's just a woman who has a ton of testosterone in her body and dominates. So it's interesting.
Michael Phelps just knew he wouldn't be able to hold up against the fish. In
That's true.
He's a good human, but a bad fish.
Yeah.
Yes, though you're right. Though the headline I see here now is that they shift the Olympics is moving away from testosterone testing.
Yeah. Do you know that back in the day they genuinely did used to just have genital tests? The women used to have to walk in front of a doctor naked just to prove that they were a woman, that they had women's genitalia.
As you do.
That's just horrific.
Yeah.
Yep.
Things have changed.
I think I've earned my good karma back now.
I don't know. That's just a fact you've given us.
Yeah. I feel like you only learned
Obviously,
you've only learned these in the seminars we force you have to go to.
What seminar?
All right, let's move along.
Move on.
Cian, what news do you have?
Big news here. Big news from Donegal.
All right.
After a very eventful last day in the League of Ireland, Ben Harps destroyed Longford Town 5-0 to hang on. and avoid the relegation playoffs. So they're coming back next year, boys. We got one more year
I
at
have
least.
to say, after it all started to fall apart in the middle of the season, I really didn't think they'd do it.
Because they started off so fast, and then it just went to shit.
Yeah, it all fell apart.
So, yeah. And see, it'd be interesting now because I think actually Waterford play UCD, who I think were like the lowest ranked team in the first division playoffs. Or one of them, were they?
Give me 2 seconds, and I have it here.
So they definitely
They
play
were
Waterford.
no, they finished third, so they were the second
That's
seed.
not too bad. So they might have UCD back in the Premier Division next year. That'll be interesting.
Yes, UCD beat Treaty United.
I think the finals are
4-2.
best of one, and then the semi-finals are best of like two-legged.
Their game against Treaty United, the semi-finals were 2-leg. Yeah, the final they beat Bray Wanderers 2-0 in
Oof.
the final, and now they go up against. I think their games against
Waterford.
Waterford. You said will be
Yeah.
2 legs. Yeah,
Is it? That's
I
interesting.
believe so. But yeah, that'll be interesting to see UCD come back.
Yeah,
Bray Wanderers just weren't able to do it.
Yeah, the only team.
not yet.
They lost
only
2-0
team in-
to UCD in the final there.
The only team in Europe to qualify for Europa League while not playing in their nation's top division.
Pretty impressive.
When you're good,
I
you're
know.
good.
When you're that, get fucking rocked by everyone. Then I think it was the qualifiers they qualified for. I don't think maybe it was the main team proper.
Nah.
Was it the
People are
main one
saying
proper?
this, but Brightwater, they're the new sheriff. They're the sheriff
They
of the Europa
fucking
League.
wish.
I mean, Sheriff dominate their domestic league, so they're clearly not the new Sheriff. Right, let's move along. Yeah, if he's Longford, we're fucking shocking this year. Right, let's move along to some Formula One news. We had the first race in Qatar over the weekend, and
Wait, is there another race in Qatar?
no, it was just I think it was just the first race held ever, like first F1 race ever held in Qatar.
Oh, fair.
And surely, Ushi, you didn't watch it because, human
Yeah,
rights and all that.
human rights abuses.
yeah, of course. I
watched.
made
You
my-
sold out.
I
You
made
sold
my,
out.
I made my stand on. I refused to watch free practice and qualifiers, but I watched the race.
Coward.
Ah,
They did have an awful lot of cuts to the audience that looked very fake.
Did you at least watch it on a dodgy stream so they didn't get any money for it?
Ushi paid out.
Yeah,
VIP package.
I got no TV, so I just watched
Sell out.
it. But yeah, we had it was an interesting race in the midfield, but Hamilton fucking ran away with it, to be honest.
Weird use of terms.
Drove away with it.
He drove away with it.
He ran the whole thing. So that puts him it's still a very close.
What are you saying? It's down to what, like 15 points, 10 points?
Not even. It's like 8 points.
What the hell?
I did
8
see. Is
points
he
between
involved
Verstappen
in
and
another
Hamilton.
scandal?
No.
I thought I saw reports that he's involved in another scandal, and it's gone into question.
No.
It just appeared in my newsfeed.
How many,
And I
is
remember-
there 2
I
races
just
left,
remember-
is it?
There is 2 races left. There's Saudi Arabia and Abu Dhabi.
Sorry, Mike. Go on.
I just saw it on my newsfeed. I can't remember thinking to myself, I could click onto it, but Ushi will probably fill me in at some point or making it as this news article.
No,
That's
maybe.
fair.
your newsfeed's full of shit.
Yeah, we already knew that. Okay, if it comes down to it and it's close, I'm actually watch the last race just for the crack.
There is a
But it'll be
possibility
spoilers.
that depending
Yeah,
on
but there's gonna be spoilers anyway.
depending on how things go in Saudi Arabia, there's a possibility that they go into Verstappen and Hamilton go into the last race on the exact same number of points.
That would
which
be interesting.
is pretty insane. But yeah, it's getting close. Hamilton's won the last 2 races. I've seen a lot of people essentially writing it off, saying Hamilton's won it because he was just so much faster in Qatar. But I don't know. Like Red Bull have a good car. It's going to be an
Yeah, you
interesting.
kind of have to.
It's going to be an
And-
interesting. You say that, but Haas is a team. Keep.
Yeah, but they're not competing for titles.
They're not competing for anything.
And is it true that the Red Bull car can indeed fly because Red Bull gives you wings?
No, legally it doesn't give you wings anymore.
Yeah,
Legally you
that's
can't say
legally.
that.
Yeah.
Legally they got sued in America, so that's why it has four eyes in it now. Is because they're not technically giving you wings; they're giving you wings. Different, legally different.
So fucking.
You don't want to get
stupid.
sued.
Those Americans are fucking idiots.
I mean, like they had the thing then that like if you could prove you bought Red Bull in North America over the last 15 years, you got like 100 quid for free.
Jesus Christ.
I know.
What a time to be
I
alive.
respect it.
Stupid. Anyway, Keen, just on the Haas note, it's worth noting that one of their drivers is coming 21st in a 20 driver standing.
Can I ask how?
There was one of the drivers for, I think it was Alfa Romeo, got COVID, so he had a standing driver, and Robert Kubica came in, and he's ahead of Nikita Mazepin on.
Oh my god, that's so bad.
He's
That's
ahead of
kind of
Mazepin
sad.
on alphabetical order because they're all on 0 points.
No, that's an oof.
It's very funny.
And has Mazepin like been racing the entire?
Yeah, no,
season?
he's just shit.
He has no points after racing the entire season.
No, the only 3 drivers with 0 points are the 2 Haas drivers and that guy who had 1 drive for Alfa
I
Romeo.
really wish he got a point. I wish so
Haas
much
are
that he got
just
a point.
shocking. And
Well,
Mazepin's just worse because he's like consistently slower than Mick Schumacher in the same car.
Fair.
And you're like,
Because their car is really bad.
yeah, their
Or
car
is Dell
absolutely
just really
appalling.
bad?
Their
Pierre
whole
Gasly's
just-
having a good year.
Pierre Gasly's having a great year. Pierre Gasly
Yeah.
actually started second on the grid in yesterday's race and unfortunately dropped away. Fernando Alonso,
Oh.
actually, that's never mind that. Fucking hell! How is this not my news? Fernando
You said it
Alonso.
was a boring race.
Yes, but Fernando Alonso got his first podium in 7 years.
Is he still driving?
Yeah,
Apparently.
he
Good
left.
for him.
He retired for a while and then came back. So he nearly broke the record for longest
like-
gap between
yeah.
podiums, but I think he just managed to get there beforehand.
Yeah, that's kind of funny.
Great
Geez, Lando
race
Norris
from
is having a very good year. Didn't think he was that good.
He nearly won in Russia, so close in Russia. But
he just
McLaren have
he's-
just fallen apart the past few races.
he just seems like someone I want to slap. He's a very slappable face.
I liked it in Lando's free time from Formula One. He streams himself playing the
Yeah.
F1 game.
During the not even that, during like the start of lockdown, he even started streaming Warzone as well as his like trainings, and he became huge on Twitch.
Really,
Mm.
I like that he actually does like proper Grand Prix in the F1 game with like either pros or other F1 or ex F1 drivers. I think Nico
Oh yeah, but
Rosberg
I'd say
does
they
it.
all do that. Like, so obviously it's not the same thing as actually driving, but surely it's keeping your skills somewhat sharp.
Yeah, I'd say so. And
Yeah.
it's the exact same racetracks, so you're also like learning the
Yeah.
layout of the tracks and stuff. Anyway, let's move on.
Yes.
Mike, have you got any more news?
Not really news, but I think I'm going to take this time to be a little smug about myself. I remember you used to giving me stick when I said the Patriots would not be a top 5 defense,
I mean,
and how times have changed. How
Yeah,
times have
been a-
changed.
It's been a long
Patriots
2
are
weeks.
really, the
back.
time to boast about this was a few weeks ago when we had the mid-season NFL.
No, because they weren't that good back then. It's
I
been 2
mean-
weeks, and they've had 2 very good performances.
you get 2 minutes. That's the max you're allowed. and then we're
That-
moving on because we're not
That's
spending
it.
much
We can
longer
move
on
on.
the NFL.
I've already. We're back.
Also, not
Alright.
news, and this is a very, very slippery slope to start up with.
We're just back. We're back. America's worst nightmare is back.
Oh my god, you even have the bad Titans this weekend.
I know.
So apparently
Everything's
anything
coming up
goes in
Belichick.
news these days.
I
Yeah, that's what I
specifically
was
said it
saying.
wasn't news. I said
Then
I was
why did
taking
you say
Yeah,
it
don't bring it
news?
up in the news section.
just being
It's
smug.
such a Mike thing to do, to be fair.
Big smug. You
All
still
right,
got
Keane,
it.
what news have you got? Because we're in the news section.
Yeah, I know.
Fuck,
Just
prick.
concluding our Autumn Nations series, Ireland's big win over Argentina,
Big win.
53-7.
Great
I
win.
was listening to it now on my way home, and it started off bad when we went 7-0 down inside the 4 minutes, and then after that, it went extremely well.
Solid.
So first 4 minutes were bad, but the other
Just up
76
from
quite good.
there. Great way to round up the autumn internationals.
And get us on a good hype train before it all goes to shit in the Six Nations.
Oh, the excitement.
It's the best time of the year.
The time where anything can happen. I don't have any more news. Mike obviously doesn't have any more news. So, Keane,
Nope.
have you got any more news?
I swear to God, if he did, I was going to lose my shit with him. No,
I
no,
wouldn't
we're
have
not
let him
gonna-
have it. I didn't care if he had more news or not. He wasn't let
Yeah, he wasn't having any. No,
Yeah. You said you don't have any more news either.
no,
so-
no, no,
Yeah,
no.
okay.
Yeah,
In that case, let us move on to the main bit of news that we've been holding out on here, because we want to give it some special mention. After a few weeks ago, when we discussed what would happen with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and Manchester United, he's finally got the sack. What
so
are-
is this segment just going to be the two of you laughing for a couple of minutes and then we're
I
going to move
mean,
Yeah, pretty much.
not only have they sacked him, they've done it after a 2-week break.
Yes, after the international break,
yeah,
where they then
and
went
they
and
lost 4-0 to
4-1.
Watford.
That was
Or 4-1,
4-1,
was it?
I believe,
4-1.
Yeah.
to Watford.
To be fair to United fans and to Solskjaer, it was 2-1 going into the last 5 minutes.
Yeah, and then it was 4-1 at the end of those 5 minutes.
Yeah, they just collapsed.
I saw someone giving out because they were saying like they thought the reason Ole wasn't sacked after the 5-0 against Liverpool was that the board was looking to put someone in place, and that's why it was taking so long to sack him. And then
Yeah.
they sack him, and then they go, "Yeah, Michael Carrick's going to take over for a few games. Then we're going to
Yeah.
get
That's
an
the thing.
interim manager till the end of
Yeah.
the season. Then we're going to
Yeah.
get an actual manager." And you're like,
Would you not just
"You guys are fucking morons."
if you're gonna go with the interim, just go, alright, Carrick, you have it to the end of the year.
Yeah, but
Let's
then
just
what
not
if
bother with
what if he gets to the Champions League semi-finals and they just give him a contract and re-offer it and it goes, Manchester United are back.
Yeah. Yeah.
Carrick's at the wheel.
Do you know something really ironic?
What?
Donny Van de Beek scored Ole
Yes,
Gunnar Solskjaer's last
I
goal for
did
United.
really enjoy that.
But there is one thing I don't understand.
Yes,
Go on.
Michael.
Against
Probably
Andorra,
lots of things, to be fair.
Harry Maguire did the cup years. I thought the good times were back.
Yeah, he also then scored a screaming header against, was it the mighty San Marino?
The
following
mighty
week?
San Marino.
Yeah,
Did any of you see his red card? It is
I didn't know.
No, I
shocking.
didn't.
So it's 2 yellows within the space of 7 minutes of each other.
It
right.
was like
First yellow card.
6 minutes, wasn't it?
Well,
First-
close enough, whatever.
First one, it's just straight up. He just goes for the slide tackle, doesn't get the ball. That's it. But the second yellow is, if you have a chance to watch it, it's just so comical. He has the ball in his own box, casually at the 18-yard line. Whatever reason, he tries to just roll it past the striker, miscontrols it. The striker has a chance, and Maguire still has enough time to slide tackle and clear the ball, but just puts his foot over the ball, misses the
Yeah.
ball, and hits the guy.
I've just seen
And I'm
it.
just
Jesus
like,
Christ.
what are you doing?
This wasn't the lead up to the penalty, was it?
No, penalty happened like in the first half.
Okay.
This is late in the game when it's still 2-1 and they're chasing.
Yeah, it's absolutely shocking. Like, I don't know what he's doing. And then he goes in, does he go in 2 feet as well?
Yeah, like it's just
So, like,
whatever he's doing.
a horrific challenge. I saw someone say that he should have just stuck his fingers in his ears.
Oh, that's yeah. I know exactly
Don't
what's
know
happening.
what he was thinking.
Oh, like it's the exact thing where he knows he hits it that little bit too far, and his split second is just go, oh fuck, and dive at it. It's a terrible idea, and he shouldn't have done it, but you can see his thought process happen in real time.
Van de Beek's was a nice enough goal, though.
It was.
Yeah. And then Roy Keane came out and saying, London McGuarty, he says, look, I have no problems with a player not being good enough for the team, but I have a problem when they're really bad.
Fair enough.
Actually, we should just like mugs with Roy Keane isms printed on them.
Oh, yes.
That'd be great.
100%.
I honestly think we should go in a merger and have the good, the bad, the Mike, and the Keane. See if we can get him on this.
Yeah. See if we get like weekly segments.
Give him a platform.
Things you'd love to see.
Oh my god, it's not even that United lost to Watford, but they were really badly outshot as well.
No, it was all Watford.
Yeah.
Like, the first half was the most dominant I've ever seen. United had one shot the entire first half. It was
Yeah.
just complete Watford dominance. But other things to show how poorly the country run, they also could have sold Jesse Lingard for 30 million back before the window closed.
Yeah.
He's now lucky to go on free, leave on a free now.
It's so stupid. Like, Ole, I think, essentially told... Like, Ole is the one who stopped that sale as well to West Ham. Because said he was going to play him or something, and he just never did.
Never does.
I also think we should, if we're going to get Keane, we should also get Michael Richards, and we'd have the good, the bad.
I thought you just mentioned me there, and I was like, we have me. What are you talking about?
Yeah,
No, Keane.
we'd
What
then
contract
have
disputes?
the good, the bad, and the Mike and the Micah.
And the Keane.
The good, the
And the
bad,
Keane.
the other, the Mike, and the Micah. The good, the bad, the really bad, the Mike, and the Mike.
But yeah, no, like, I don't understand. Apparently, Poch is really interested in going to United,
Yeah.
leaving
But
PSG.
that requires him to leave PSG first.
But isn't he not getting on with like a lot of the PSG players or something like that? So PSG want him out.
Yeah,
Like, he
but
doesn't get on like Neymar or
I
something.
think
or
they
Messi
want
or...
Zidane as well. I've seen reports that they want Zidane.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah, that
it
makes
might
sense.
suit them for him to go to United and they bring in Zidane. But they
All
wouldn't
I'm
want to be
saying
caught in the
is-
position of Poch goes to United and then Zidane goes, no, I don't want to go to PSG.
You know who's interested in
Yeah.
the caretaker of the Inter manager?
Steve
and
Bruce
I really
is.
hope. Yes, Bruce wants it.
I mean, we've talked about this before, but United legend.
Yes,
That-
Did he
United
come back
legend.
and his
He thinks he could bring some stability to that dressing room as well.
All right.
Oh.
All right.
Oh, we
Ole-
need Steve Bruce and Rio going. Brucey at the wheel.
Okay. I know. Okay. United and the car fire that is aside. How have Newcastle United not won a game yet? How are they 0-6-6?
Well, now, to be fair, and we didn't actually talk about this last week. Wait, was this the first
They
week
drew
back?
Brentford. Yes, this is the first week back.
Okay, we
yeah,
couldn't have talked
that's
about this last week then. But Eddie Howe actually tested positive for COVID, so he missed his first game in charge of Newcastle.
Yes.
But
Um,
still though.
yes, they drew with
Like,
Brentford,
look,
which is
a bigger-
now to be
Bigger
fair.
gamble than these Saudis needed to take.
Now to be fair, drawing with Brentford is fine. It happens to all of us. Like
Yeah.
Brentford are a good team.
Oh,
it.
they used draw 3-3.
I
They
also-
drew a
something like
3-3
that.
with
I
Brentford,
also-
yeah.
I'm also of the opinion that the Newcastle players, except for Alan St. Maximum, have all gathered together and said, if we get relegated, we keep
That's
our
actually
jobs
not
at the
bad.
club.
But I want to call you.
So does anyone have any final thoughts on the United situation?
Yes, one
No,
quick
no,
hope
let's move
that
on
I
then.
had. No, fuck you. One quick hope that I had when I heard that Ole was he wasn't getting sacked, that he had decided to leave, I believe is the way that they phrased it, and I was like, this opens the door for the reserve team manager to come in and step up. The player manager of Paul McShane to come into the first team as a player manager
Oh my
and do the
days!
business. That's the first thought I had. I was like, probably won't happen, but if he is the
If it
reserves
did,
manager,
though,
yeah, in a role as player manager.
I mean,
I mean,
is he
he's
worse
up
than
there.
Harry Maguire?
He has
Can
to
you-
get
yeah.
past Ronaldo, Carrick, Fletcher's still on the staff. Thinks he's a long shot. Rooney's out there.
Actually, to be honest, that's also a fair point that I wanted to make. Is that the fact that Ole left, but the entire backroom staff is still the same. Like that issue was more than just Ollie.
Oh, yeah,
Yes.
but like I would be until you get a confirmed manager. Like you can't bring in an interim everything.
Yeah, that's fair.
So until you get in a manager who can then bring in his own
See,
people.
that's the thinking. That's the reasonable approach. But as we've seen, the last 5 years, it hasn't been anything but reasonable.
I would agree with you, but I still say it's worse to get rid of everyone now, mid-season. Just clean house. That's never going to end well.
Fine, we'll trade ourselves.
It's like, I want to come on now. Okay, we'll vote on it then.
Which one do you wants to come off? Guys, it's my turn.
The communist team. We at United, everyone scores.
Dean Henderson just walks up to the goal and goes, "No, hey, it's my turn now."
Not in Soviet Manchester.
All right, let's.
I mean, they already wear red, so...
They do. That's true. That's a good point, comrade Cristiano. Right, let's move on. What's? Oh yeah. Sorry, I got it.
I think we
I
broke
know
our
what's
sheet.
going
Yeah.
on.
Yeah,
We're gonna move
normally
on
Ocean's
to,
hungry and tired, but now he's just tired and he's just lots of plot complete.
Yeah, pretty much. We now move on to our main topic of conversation for the evening. Esports. Is it really a sport?
No.
Yes, that's the end of our show.
Good night, everyone.
Fuck the system.
I mean, fair enough. That's
Yeah.
solves that. We had a good run, but I think we've solved the whole issue. So
Yeah.
we're gonna wrap up the podcast forever. We've solved
All
life's
episodes have been leading to this one moment.
we've
Yeah,
solved
that's
life's
it.
great mystery.
We have. Oh god. That,
Yeah, it's not
Alright.
a sport.
I mean,
Mike says it's not a sport. Keane says it is a sport. I have no strong feelings either way, but I could be swayed. So
I have some,
win me
some
over, guys.
interesting thoughts on this. I believe that there's esports. I think is too general of a term because there's so much within esports itself.
Right.
And shit like Hearthstone, technically an esport, definitely not a sport. That stuff. No, get away. Can't deal
Alright.
with that.
Get
and then
out
even
of
within,
here.
yes, not a sport. Okay, if you have to call then PTCGO a sport, if you're calling Hearthstone a
That's
sport.
it. Or if me and Ushi were to play Gwent online.
Yeah,
Oh, Gwent is a sport.
It is not
that's
a
who
sport.
draws. Yeah,
next
a card
next
game.
week's topic conversation: Gwent, sport
It's
or
Gwent
no?
the sport.
yeah. It's just the big issue that esports has at the minute in its legitimacy here is that particularly boomers, like
Oh,
old-ish people,
those
like I'm
goddamn
talking
boomers.
goddamn boomers and Mike.
What?
Well, you said it wasn't a sport, so
Yes,
I'm
it's
including you
true.
in this bracket.
Right.
Is that they don't understand any of it. Like this became so apparent. This is hilarious. You can go look all this up. There's so many of them on YouTube. When Booga won the Fortnite World Cup and won like 3 million quid for himself as a 16-year-old, and
Pretty
every
solid.
single newscaster anchor went, "Oh God, he won 3 million playing video games. Sure, I could do that. My son plays Xbox. Why isn't he doing this?" And you're like, you just don't have a concept of the grasp of what is going on here and the
Yeah.
time investment needed. Like, I could understand you. Like, if it's just the belittlement of it is actually insane. And one of the people who's worked so hard on this is Rick Fox. Now, this is a whole kettle of worms. That's very fascinating, very weird, and there's a lot on Rick Fox. He was a former NBA player, played for the Lakers in the early 2000s, played with Kobe and Shaq, I think, and even was part of one or two of the championship teams that they had. And his son then got very big into games, so he took an interest in games just as a bond with his son. So then when his son got into esports, I don't think he was very good enough. He actually competed to watch and just took part in esports. That Rick Fox started his own team, and they were quite successful. He had they entered into a few different esports, and they had a run. Now there's a whole fucking thing about the fallout of Echo Fox and why he had to leave, and it's an interesting, terrible story, but we're not going to go into that. But basically, there's so many interviews of him on TV with your afternoon, daytime TV hosts, and they're like him fighting for legitimacy on them to understand, not even like watch esports or partake in it of any kind, but just to try to see it as a level setting for regular sports. And
Yeah.
because he had legitimately himself being an NBA player, a professional sports person for years, that did help the image of it a little bit. And like when you break it down, that like it's actually insane. If for most esports to become pro, you have to invest so much more time than you do to be a regular sports person. And that's the bit that people don't get. Like if you want to become a professional soccer player, there's a limit to how much your body can train in a day. That limit is so much bigger when you're talking about playing video games and how cutthroat it is at the top.
Yeah.
And that's the part that I see as, because of it's still a lot of muscle memory and a lot of that there, and just the time that you have to put in to be good. For the most part, most high level esports have to be considered sports. Sports.
I feel like part of the issue with esports is how some of them are set up. Like people's biggest complaint, like FIFA, for example, their esports scene uses Ultimate Team,
Yeah, that's a disaster.
Yeah.
which is a fucking joke. And
Yeah.
FIFA has so many bugs and glitches every year that it's just. I think games that aren't esports ready are kind of pushed into the esports
Yeah.
spotlight because companies go, if we make this an esport, it's free
More
publicity.
revenue.
There
Yeah.
definitely is a side to that, and it's weird because I've never seen this not happen, but basically every game has a competitive scene, and some games are made for it, and some games are not. And even something like FIFA, which just has a massive fan base, there's going to be some form of competition for a game that just isn't designed to be competitive. Like
Yeah.
FIFA is designed for a party game, like Super Mario Party. And
Super Mario Party esports sign me up all day.
no, you'd have so much problems with that. Nintendo hates esports. You can't have Nintendo games be esports. They have sued so many people who've tried to set up tournaments. Kind of
There's
hilarious.
such a huge element of luck in some of these games as well that it's
Yeah.
just very hard to
Like ones
take
that
them
have high
seriously as competitions.
luck elements tend to be less watched. Like my understanding of like most MOBAs and kind of Rainbow Six, the bigger esports, Counter-Strike, any first-person shooter tend to have very little RNG involved.
Yeah,
Because
that's all tactics and strategy and
it kind of hides skill, the
Yeah.
more luck that's in it, which is doesn't come across great on the sports side. The one thing is that most esports, and this is the hardest bit, is that they're very top heavy when it comes to payment. That if you're
Yes.
not at the very top level, it's impossible to make any form
Break
of
it
money.
in.
Like it's because like all the revenue streams that they have, say they're getting paid by their team, the prize winnings, the Twitch viewership, that all tends to accumulate at the top. That it's harder to break into any of them, or sponsorships. They
yeah,
don't become too lucrative unless you're at the very top. But if you're at the very top of most esports nowadays, it's insane. It's really one of the bigger burgeoning scenes at the minute, and which is cool to see. But
So what you're saying is the next billion-dollar idea is to set up an academy for rising esports stars and get them signed up to your.
I mean, there is memes about that where there's a streamer called Tyler One, and he's a very big League of Legends streamer. He used to be very toxic, and he had like a 4 or 5 year ban from playing League of Legends, and eventually they lifted the ban. And North America is one of the worst regions for competitive League of Legends, and it's a bit of a meme. And once you get down below the actual top level of was it the LCS? That's what the top level is called. They don't support it at all in North America. And apparently, Tyler One had his Tyler One series, which supported North American League of Legends below the top level better than Riot did, which a lot of people thought was not okay. That he should not be the one in charge of taking care of their like feeder teams essentially.
Yeah, I mean that's very fair.
Yeah.
I was thinking more the lines of do a whole Bishop Sycamore thing.
Oh no, you need the 18-year-olds. You need the twitchiness. I have to be 18. That's why Booga won at 16. Well, actually, that's an interesting thing. Is that like there's studies show that like even though people get older, their actual reactions don't get worse. They just play less. Once you get to like your mid-20s and you have other life things to do that you don't have at 16, 17, and you can just spend so much more time practicing.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But I think that something that will help. Excuse me. Esports going forward is like something like what we discussed earlier with Lando Norris, where he, like as an F1 driver, has started playing and streaming.
Oh yeah.
The F1 games, and there is like a pro esports side to Formula One that
that's weird.
Wouldn't know much about, but like something like that would bring something like Lando Norris playing that game would bring that to a different audience than who would usually be watching it, and would raise the profile of it hugely.
You see that all the time though with Twitch streamers, where high level really good. Like I see all the time with Call of Duty streamers, they'll be playing Warzone, and a lot will play with like NBA players, actors, because they want the clout that comes with playing with these superstars, and these superstars want people to play with them who's good.
Yeah.
So they can get hard carried. It's this weird symbiotic relationship.
And of course, it works the other way around as well. Like, obviously it's not esports, but does anyone remember earlier in lockdown when AOC, Ocasio-Cortez played Among Us with a ton of streamers?
Yeah, that was amazing. I love how someone gave her a bunch of words to use. I didn't watch the whole thing, but I've seen some of the highlights, and I don't know if she picked up these words playing with them, or one of her like aides gave her like a list of these are terms that gamers find funny. Get your head out of the gutter, Mike. Like the one thing I can never get out of my head is she talking about, I can't remember what's the Muslim congresswoman who's playing with her, can't remember what her name is, but she was standing next to her. She's like, she won't kill me, she's my ride or die. And I was like, oh no. Oh no. Can't be saying that. But there is like there's so many interesting scenes. My favorite ever sports story, and I'm including this as an esports sports story.
All right.
Is the oh fuck, I remember his name. I can never remember his name.
I remember the name, and it's supposed to be a story.
It's phenomenal. Hang on.
Some favorite story here.
Right. There he is, Arslan Ash. He is a Tekken player from Pakistan.
All right.
And in the world today, this should not happen in any realm.
I've read about this.
It's phenomenal. I've watched the story so many times where like Tekken has been an established gaming scene since the early 2000s. Since remember Tekken really got established. Like fighting games are notoriously bad for like payouts, so it's hard to make a job fighting game. But like, the scene's been around since the dawn of esports, really.
Yeah.
And they had as established hierarchy of the good players. They knew who was good. And then this one lad from Pakistan came out of Pakistan and played in what's renowned as the hardest tournament in the world. He went to the Evo in Japan, which isn't the biggest tournament in the world. Normally, Evos in America get more people, but the Evos in Japan have a higher quality player.
Yeah.
On no sleep for 3 days, for like 2 days, no sleep because he kept getting to airports. He went to like the airport in Lahore in Pakistan, and then even though he had a visa to go to Japan, they wouldn't let him on the flight, and then he had to get a flight to Singapore, and then in Singapore, his flight was to a different part of Japan, and they were like, your visa's only for that part of Japan, you can't fly here. He's like, no, I'm getting another flight from there then to the right part of Japan, and then a day later they let him on that flight, and then eventually he was traveling for like 2 days straight, and just about got to the venue to start of the tournament, and ended up dominating the tournament, swept basically everyone. He did come through losers. He lost one game at some point, and ended up winning the hardest tournament in the world. And people had no idea there's this insanely tough scene in Pakistan. Like, it wasn't just him; he was the best coming out of Pakistan. But because Pakistan it's so hard to get a visa to leave, the world had no idea that there was this insane scene, just randomly without people knowing about it.
I heard it from a different story, not the guy that won it, but apparently they were talking. It was an English tournament happened, and this guy came from Pakistan, was playing. Oh yeah, where was I, Oshin, before you almost died just there?
Didn't almost die just there. We discussed this. I almost died during Keane's monologue.
Oh God!
Who says podcasting is a safe business?
Yeah. Oh man, it was hell. I'm so glad Keane kept talking during it though. Where you were just at the start of your story before I had to pause it because we had no technical issues whatsoever.
Just health issues. All right, I'll just start again. So it's the guy from Pakistan. He was over on a visa, just staying for a few weeks. So thought that there was a Tekken tournament, so he showed up, absolutely smoked everyone there, and they were like, "This is the best Tekken player I've ever seen in my life." They asked him, "You're really good." He goes, "Really? Because where I come from, I'm really shit. I keep losing all the time." And that's how I discovered that Pakistan is just unreal in the Tekken scene.
Not exactly. So that happened kind of. Like, the British knew they weren't the best, but they got a good scene, and this random like out of nowhere and started destroying them all because I think he was there on a student visa for the year. And when he started telling them about all these amazing players in Pakistan and that he wasn't considered a good player in Pakistan, I didn't really believe him because they were like, well, if they were good, why aren't they playing? And because they were like, just like you can't understand like how someone would be good at a game and not be known at a level like that. Like, it's unfathomable. So they didn't believe him. For the most part, some did, some didn't, and it was just weird. But
my favorite esports story is Initial T. I had to look this guy up
sounds
just to double check it. It's the guy who went to what's the name of this fucking game? Guilty Gear. It's called tournament in Canada in 2018.
Yeah,
and went and won the whole thing using a steering wheel.
I don't think he won it.
I think he did
win it. He did well, but I don't know if he won it.
I know a guy won with the Guitar Hero controller.
Oh, no, he
also don't know if he won that, but
he was
he
the
played with it.
2017 champion, and this was in 2018.
Oh, fair. But yeah, that was...
He stormed through the tournament, apparently, beating a number of players. He finished 5th, losing to the eventual winner.
I thought you were a big fan of Word.exe.
Remind me of Word.
Yes, please elaborate.
I think we actually discussed this before. No idea where you were. No. So this is Optic Gaming, one of the biggest brands in particularly North America, esports. They tried to get an esports going in India because there's so many people. They're into games, but they don't have a big esports scene. So they started a CS:GO team. They held tryouts, got a 5-man roster for an Indian CS:GO team, and they went to their first ever LAN in some Asian decent level thing. I don't know. And one of their players got done for cheating. You can see there's videos of the admins of the tournament walking up, taking him away from his taking away from his PC as he frantically tries to delete the cheats he has in his external drive.
So fucking funny.
The cheats were labeled as Word.exe, and that is one of the big memes. Yeah. It's like, cheats, what are you talking about?
Actually, I keep seeing this video recently, and I don't know if it's new or not, but it's this guy in. Don't even know where it is, but he's like, he's at some esports tournament, and however it is, he loses or he dies in whatever game it is, and he smashes the computer screen. And then just very calmly turns it off and gets up and walks away so that no one knows it's smashed. But there's a camera like right behind him looking over his shoulder that just catches the whole thing.
Oh my god.
Ian, on the top of your head, what would be the main esports at the moment?
Viewership, I think, is League of Legends, but like money is Dota 2, the international. So like I think League still has the most eyeballs watching it.
Right.
Definitely has for years. Valorant's getting really big though for something that's only been out a year.
Interesting.
Yeah.
You keep watching the COD leagues. Is that getting?
I do.
Is that big?
It's big enough. It'd be like this is weird because it's a controller esports and it's one of the few controller esports that's actually decently popular.
Right.
Like Halo just released 2 weeks ago or a week ago now, and they haven't had a Halo game in 4 or 5 years. The Halo esports scene has been pretty much dead for nearly a decade now.
Yeah.
And they've had a resurgence in the last week. Like they held a tournament over the weekend that had insane viewing records, and the game has only been out 2 weeks.
Jesus.
Like Call of Duty has a ton of issues, both with the actual running of the league itself, and then just with the games having tons of bugs. But I enjoy watching it. I think it's very tactical. It's decently high paced for the most part. It's like it's weird that they've moved to this franchising which is the biggest thing going now, particularly Activision, and that has kind of killed a lot of it. Where there's no more open bracket, and there's kind of only 12 professional teams, so it's very cutthroat at the top. And like a team here, like Unknown, can't take out a pro team anymore. That's all dead now. That's kind of bad, but it's a way of getting it more legitimized. Is that rather than running the kind of, you have to play 20 games all over a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, that they have it spread out now where you're playing a game kind of every week on a Tuesday or a Thursday, and make it more like professional sports.
Yeah.
Which some people like and some people hate. I don't think they should have gone that way because I don't know, it's trying to operate too much like professional sports when it's not. It has its own thing that has been working well for years. Kind of like used to run like Pokemon tournaments where you just play all day and then eventually whittles down.
So, like, what's an example of a esport team in the COD League? Just out of curiosity.
What?
Like, give us a team name. Like, any team do you name here?
Trying to think. The most wild one is the Minnesota Rocker.
Minnesota Rocker.
ROKKR.
Okay, and so you won't have ultras out in the esports that are like, oh, gearing up for Minnesota Rocker away.
You have
Let's
the keyboard warriors.
go.
It makes sense that the ultras are online, given that
Yes,
it's
it
online
does.
sport.
But like they tried doing
That-
that for the Overwatch League, where it's the same thing where they have like franchise teams in certain locations, and then like you just played home and away games against the other teams, but people got super annoyed at that. So they thought about doing that in COD, but now they just have it so that they have 12 teams in 10 different cities or 11 different cities. So they just have tournaments held in the cities, but in general, everyone comes to that city.
Interesting.
But it's kind of funny because one fan base has, I would say, about 60% of the fans. So the few like LAN tournaments that they held this year, there was one team had fans there because they've just all the fans, and it's actually insane
And
to see.
is that the team you support?
No, I don't mind them. I like them.
There. You hesitated.
Like because I don't support them, but I don't hate them. I enjoy seeing them do well.
What team is it?
They've just had a rebrand, so it was Optic Chicago, but they're now Optic Texas. Oh, lads, this is the biggest spice of all time.
Let's
The
go
two
Optic
teams-
Texas.
Give us the
Yeah.
spice.
The two teams that used to be El Clasico,
Oh.
they finished second and third last few years now, because there's one team that's just dominant. So they merged to take down the one team that's really, really good.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So wait, what
big.
happened to them? What happened to the other players that just didn't?
They
They
cut-
just like,
just
yeah,
cut.
you're just gone.
Literally, they both did squads of 4. They both cut 2 and
That's
merged.
so
yeah.
shit.
Yeah. It
Surely
was.
the other two. Surely the other
horrific.
two say, "Well, we just joined the other two in
why
that
don't
team."
we make our own team?
No, they've all been picked up now on different teams because they're all still were four very good players.
Yeah.
So they've all got picked up
Yeah.
on the pro roster as
There
well.
we go.
But I don't know. The team I do like did take one of them, so I was pretty happy with that because if this game's supposed to be like Modern Warfare, they cut one of the
Right.
best players, possibly a top 3, top 5 player in Modern Warfare, which I thought was a bad idea, but I get why they did it. They kind of had to cut him if they were going down this merger route. So, but it was spicy when it started to break. Took them 2 months to announce it.
Surely the other 4 players should see. Top 4 players go through
Yeah,
in
top
a
4,
tournament.
top 4
Top
players.
4
yeah.
go through.
Mike, why do you think it's
That's
not a sport?
It's just, when I think sports, I think it's outside, it's on a field, it's competing. Your
So
own
basketball's not a sport.
physical. It's on a field, technically, a court.
Ice hockey.
Ice hockey rink.
Yeah, still not a field.
Not outside on a field.
Yeah.
It's physical
Curling.
endurance.
Chess.
Joe chess.
Not really a sport.
Fencing.
No, that's fair.
Chess is not
Fucking
a sport.
rowing. Any ocean sports.
Yeah, but there's
They're not on
physical
fields.
endurance on it. It's a sport. You're physically.
I mean, you
peak
literally
for it.
started off going
Muscles,
outside
alright,
on a
muscles.
field.
Yeah.
You're
You're
using.
You're using muscles in chess.
Like, you probably have more muscle memory in esports than you do in most other sports.
Yeah, it's not
More finite
a
muscles.
sport. Like, change it to any other name, and it's the fact they use sport. If it said e-comp, I understand it's not as good branding.
E-comp does sound pretty stupid.
It does
Very
sound
similar
stupid,
to
that's why.
e-commerce, actually. Now that I think.
Yeah, that's just that now. That's why they called it esports, is because it's sports.
E-games.
E-games sounds really shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, Mike. No.
But like, see,
Electronic
esports,
games.
I understand esports if it's the sporting games. Then I'm like, okay, that makes sense.
God, that's no.
It makes sense then.
I think
I
you've
get
got
where
it
you're
bad,
coming
too.
from, but yeah, I feel like you're just clutching at straws.
I still can't get over the outside on a field comment.
Yeah.
Sports is sports. That's like speaking from my own experience.
Sports is what you're going for now.
Yeah, sports is sports.
Jesus.
You heard it here
Christ.
first.
Sports. Yeah.
I'll be honest.
But-
Right, Mike, your arguments have done more to convince me that esports is a sport than anything
To be
Keane has
fair.
said.
If it's any consolation, Oshin, I had it written down that no matter what I say, guarantee you will pick the opposite stance no matter what
Yeah,
it
but you
is.
can't say that after you've made a terrible argument.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't think it was coming to me. You just went straight off the bat and just went,
Yeah,
now go.
Sports is sports.
Sports.
What did you think it was
sports.
going to do?
I didn't think you asked that question.
You said no. When,
He's got a point.
when I said, is it a sport? Is esport a sport? You went, no. So I was like, all right. Mike
Oh, yeah, the
must
first
have
time we
some
ended the
reasons.
I mean, I thought I'd get a whole
He has
episode
reasons.
to discuss.
None
I
of them
will
are
do.
good.
Yeah. Just let me do my research on this.
Well, you
You
had like a day, to
had
be fair.
time.
A day.
Keane brought this idea up like before yesterday. I'm pretty sure.
I don't remember when I brought it up.
I'm pretty sure you only brought it up to me yesterday.
I think I did bring it up yesterday.
I thought you brought it up last week at some point. All right.
Anyway.
Well, I mean,
That is, to be fair, if you watch anyone arguing that it's not sports, that is their main thing is
Yeah.
it's not
Is it
sports
sports
because
is
it's
outside
not
on a field?
traditional sports. Yeah,
It's not.
it's not
Yeah,
traditional
exactly.
sports,
traditional
but it's
sports.
still,
Fuck off.
most of it can be classified as sports. Just because they don't fit your mold of
Move
know,
with the times,
rockin',
Grandpa.
rockin' bods. Did you say that the Blankenship is an athlete?
Yes, I would say it's an
Yeah.
athlete.
But he doesn't look like your traditional mode of an athlete.
I
To
know,
be fair
but he
though,
plays in
he does
athletic.
play outdoors on a field.
Yeah.
So he's clear. That's
Okay,
clearly a sport.
Put it this
If
way.
they
this way.
if they moved their computers to outside on a football field, Mike would be
Put
like,
it this
"Yep,
way.
that's a sport."
Is it PE if it's not a PE? Like, you're not gonna go PE teacher. All right, guys, we're playing Tekken today. Grab a controller.
No, it's because that's physical education.
Yeah.
You play sports
Physical.
and physical education.
You don't only
Sports
play
doesn't have to be
sports.
physical. Even though esports, for the most part, takes so much more. physically than people think.
I don't know, it just
I think
doesn't
Mike's
sound right
just
to
got
me.
some bad takes, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, it may be bad, but at least I ain't a sexist.
I'm not a
And-
sexist. I just made a
And now we
sexist joke.
finally
There's- there's a
hit
difference.
Mike's final resort in this argument is
Yes.
to call back some poor comments Keane made earlier in the show.
Yeah.
We've come full
You just
circle.
want to bury him. Stop supporting him. Stop burying him.
I think we can just
Leave it there.
leave it there. I came into this with no strong feelings either way on whether esports was a sport or not. I was open to being swayed, and I'll be honest, I finished this episode with no strong opinions on
Oh,
whether
for fuck's
esports
sake.
is a sport or not.
You clearly weren't listening.
I
Oh, he was, just for my arguments.
despised.
Yeah, he was dying during my one.
despised Mike's arguments, and I think he's full of shit. Sports isn't just outside on a field.
Irish sports are outside, on even though we don't have the weather for it, always outside in a field with the ball. That's Irish sports.
Or Slitter.
Still a ball.
Slitter is technically still a ball.
Don't tell that.
You
Small
might
ball.
just discounting all water sports, all indoor sports. Table
Tell that
tennis.
to like a boxer. It's like, that's
Yeah.
that sport. You're
Yeah, that's a
indoors.
fair point. Oh, that's a good one. Table tennis. Honestly, we
sport.
could name so many sports that don't take place outside on a field.
Would you, Mike, say that there's only sports in the Olympics?
Ooh.
No.
Why, what sports are not? What do you think is in the Olympics that isn't a sport?
Let me go through the list. I believe.
This is an interesting one.
This is good. I like this. That's a good question.
Alright, let me look at the list here. Olympics.
This is how we're going to end it.
Non-sports.
Mike chatting shit about some sports that are in the Olympics.
No, that aren't in the Olympics.
Are,
What am I looking
that's-
at?
Yeah.
Obviously
Oh.
are.
Alright, Olympic sports. Let's go. Breakdancing.
I forgot they added that. I mean, like, yeah, does that not follow your traditional incredibly athletic?
Yes, there's a lot of
Fairly
physical
sporting.
exertion there.
Can be done in a field outside?
Can be.
Probably not well.
Well, I don't know. You could still set up your mat outside in the field.
Yeah, but is it the same? Would it be as, I don't know, is it a spongy mat or is it just a hard mat?
I would have
My
assumed it
knowledge
was a
of
hard
breakdancing
mat,
isn't great.
so that you can like do your
And why put down a mat?
spins.
The floor's already hard, so if you're not
Well,
making
de-
it more
yeah, but
comfortable.
it depends. Like I would have assumed it was like a I can't think of the material now, but you got to be able to like spin on it and shit. You can't have it too grippy. Is what I would assume.
Yeah, fair.
But yeah, there's a lot of physical exertion in breakdancing. I would think. So surely, by your own logic, it's a sport, Mike.
Yeah, but by that logic, arm wrestling can be a sport.
No, it's definitely a sport.
That
That one's
actually is a
100% sport.
I think you're just full of shit, to be honest.
You think that anyway.
Yeah, but it just confirmed it.
Is
You
arm
confirmed
wrestling
it
a
5,
sport?
6
Is like
episode.
the third, the third most searched thing on Google. When you
What
type,
is?
arm wrestling a sport? What do you type in? Is arm?
That's very fair.
Arm wrestling has been a legitimate sport since the 50s.
Would you count sailing as a sport?
Yeah.
Oh god, yeah.
But that I would definitely put esports above sailing. Now, honestly, I don't know too much about sailing, aside from Annalisa Murphy. That's as far as my sailing knowledge goes.
I dabbled a bit in sailing. Fucking tough.
I'd say it is very tough. I'm not trying to belittle it, and that it's not difficult. But
You could die.
you could just die doing any sport. Oh, she'd nearly die doing a fucking podcast.
You've got a point. Death comes for us all in the end. You never know when
Yeah.
it's going to happen. And on that note, let's
Let's leave it there.
let's leave it there. All right. So, feed the algorithm, fuck the system, and remember, death comes for us all. Have a good one.